It's official pick time for UFC Vegas 108. We're back at the Apex, and I know some people might not be super thrilled with the card, but I just got to say I'm grateful that I have something to look forward to on Saturday. All right, a weekend without fights sucks. So at least we got some fights to look forward to, and I actually believe some of these matchups are going to be some low-key bangers. So I'm excited to go through it. I'm going to go through them. I'm going to give you a brief breakdown of who I'm choosing and why I'm choosing them to win. But if you want a deeper dive into each and every fight, I did a live betting breakdown last night on the Hey Jab Picks YouTube channel. You can check that out if you want some more in-depth content on every single fight. And we talked a little bit more of the bets that I'm eyeing up. These are picks, not bets. Gun to your head. Who do you believe is going to win? That's what we're going to do. If you want all my bets, jump in the Home 5 Picks Premium membership. Link down in the description below. That's where you're going to get all the bets every single week. We'll start it off. First fight of the night. Women's MMA. Piera Rodriguez, Ketlin Souza. I was going back and forth on this one. I was giving Ketlin Souza a decent shot to win this one. But I don't think I could pick her, man. I don't think I could pick her. I'm going to take Piera Rodriguez. Ketlin Souza is probably going to make this very competitive on the feet. She may even be the better striker, or at least be able to outstrike Piera Rodriguez for moments in the fight. But ultimately, it comes down to the grappling, the wrestling, where Piera Rodriguez got 8 takedowns in her last fight. And when I'm watching her get those takedowns, she's getting them out in the open mat. And when you're out in the open mat and you get your takedowns, you can usually control it for a little bit longer than if you're just getting an easy one off the cage. Girls can, get back up against the cage, get back up. And I banked on, Ketlin Souza maybe being able to do that or defend the takedowns from the cage, being in the smaller octagon at the Apex. But you look at her last fight against Angela Hill, she's getting taken down in the open space. So I think that's probably what happens here. Competitive striking. Piera Rodriguez steals the rounds with mixing it up with the wrestling. So I'm going to take Piera Rodriguez for the official pick this week. Moving on. Rafael Estevam coming in as a big favorite against Felipe Bunes. I think the line is super wide. Estevam's taking it on short notice, but can I really trust in Felipe Bunes? Because in all reality, he probably gets put on his butt early in the fight, because that's what Estevam's going to do. And Estevam might gas out as the fight goes on, but Felipe Bunes never been a cardio guy. He always slows down as the fight goes on as well. So, Bunes is definitely live for some type of submission early. It's just a matter of if Estevam can get out of it. I think he's a little bit sloppy on the ground, but he is physical, does have good wrestling, and that's what he does. And I don't think Felipe Bunes can defend all the takedowns that are coming his way. So I'm going to take Estevam for the official pick. Hate the line, though. I think he's way overpriced at this spot. But I think he probably wins a decision 29-28 either way. Let's go to the next one. Austin Bashi minus 700. I'm not going to be taking John Yannis. I think this is a terrible matchup for John Yannis in his UFC debut. He's probably just taking this as his ticket to get in the UFC. But when he fights another striker, that's probably where he'll shine. He's mainly a boxer in MMA. He doesn't really throw a ton of kicks, doesn't really look to grapple. He's getting taken down in his last fight against Nick Aguirre, ex-UFC fighter, and Nick Aguirre's not that great of a wrestler, and Austin Bashi is a pretty dang good wrestler, pretty dang good grappler. So Bashi's probably going to come in here, get the takedowns, might even find an early submission. We'll see. But either way, Bashi's probably going to be able to get this one done, either by decision or submission. I believe he probably does it fairly easily. So Bashi's going to be the official pick for that one. Moving on to a much closer fight here. Nick Klein, Andre Pulyaev, or at least what the odds are saying on the screen. Andre Pulyaev coming in here after the loss. Same with Nick Klein. So both guys got to bounce back from a loss. I think it's probably going to be Pulyaev. I think Pulyaev is the much better fighter overall. I actually think he's a decent striker. I think his footwork's pretty good. If Nick Klein's going to win this one, I think it's probably going to be an early submission, and I just don't really see that happening. When you watch back Pulyaev's fight against Liam Anderson, very good grappler, couldn't take him down early. CLD looked for the wrestling early, couldn't take him down. I don't think Nick Klein's going to take him down, and I think Nick Klein is not a very good striker either, who also does not have great cardio. So I think Pulyaev gets this one done, going to outstrike him on the feet. If he could stuff the takedowns, he could probably get a finish as well. Maybe round 2, 3, we'll see. But Pulyaev's going to be the official pick either way. Moving on, Rodolfo Vieira, Tresean Gore. This one is a little bit tricky because it seems a little bit trappy. Rodolfo Vieira, definitely the better at one part of fighting, and that is his jiu-jitsu. But outside of that, he's not really that great at anything. He's not a very good wrestler. He's not a great striker. He's a serviceable striker, but he's not going to win many fights with his striking. I mean, he just got outstruck by Andre Petroski, who's mainly a wrestler in his last fight. So if he can't get this fight to the ground, then how does he win? Or at least how does he win cleanly? I don't think it's going to be clean at all. So he's got to get the fight to the ground, but every fight starts on the feet, and Tresean Gore statistically has pretty good takedown defense. He's a pretty strong guy in there. If guys want to, shoot on him, he's going to threaten with that guillotine. And I'm not saying he's going to get a guillotine on Adolfo Vieira, but, he doesn't even jump guillotine. It's all standing. He doesn't even need to finish the guillotine from his back. He could just do it standing. So at least he could threaten with that as some sort of takedown defense. And then his regular takedown defense is actually pretty good. He doesn't have a lot of fights that have gone to the ground. Doesn't have a lot of fights in MMA in general, which I think is maybe why he's the underdog here against Adolfo Vieira. Not super high on Tresean Gore, but I'm going to take a flyer on Tresean Gore this week. He's going to be the official pick. I think he's the better striker. I think he's got more power than Vieira. I think he's got the takedown defense to keep it on the feet. But obviously, if the fight hits the ground, probably going to be Adolfo Vieira getting it done. He's just got to get it there first, and I just can't really trust him to do so. So Tresean Gore, this is like the Davey Grant pick from last week, and this is like the Tuco Tokos pick from a couple weeks ago. It doesn't even look like it should hit, but it just might. It just might. Tresean Gore, we'll see, buddy. Rinya Nakamura, minus 400, taking on Nathan Fletcher. I think just out of principle, we got to take Nathan Fletcher here. We're going to take Nathan Fletcher, okay? If there's a gun to my head, I'm willing to die, if Rinya Nakamura pulls off a victory here, because just out of principle, I can't get behind the guy. UFC wins, not it. His loss in his last fight, not the fact that he lost, but just the fact in the way that he lost, he just gave away the fight. Just gave it away. He got cracked early. He's a wrestler, only shot one takedown, just stand and strike with Moon Gaffarov for 15 minutes. Like, what are you doing? At least I know Nathan Fletcher knows what he wants to do, and he's going to try to do it. And I actually think he's a decent fighter. I think he's probably the better striker. Maybe doesn't have the pop in his hands that Rinya Nakamura does, because when Nakamura lets his hands go, they are deadly. But he doesn't always let them go. And two, he's also very defensively open to getting hit. So I'm just going to take the flyer on Nathan Fletcher, plus 300. I'll take it, bro. I'll take it. If he loses a close decision from getting smothered, I'll live with it. Or maybe I won't, because I'll probably be dead if there's a gun to my head. But either way, Nathan Fletcher's going to be the official pick. Moving on. Kevin Vallejos, big favorite here against Danny Silva. He's going to be the pick. I think he's got the striking to deal with Danny Silva. Danny Silva, very hittable on the feet. And Kevin Vallejos is a very good counter striker who doesn't need to throw a ton of volume out there to make you pay and win fights that way. And I think that's what's going to happen here is Danny Silva going to do his normal thing, moving around the cage, in and out, peekaboo type of boxing, switching stances, doing all that, and then bang, he gets caught with something. And if he can eat it, cool. But those big shots by Kevin Vallejos are probably going to be able to steal the moments in the fight as well. And it's not like Kevin Vallejos is a low-volume striker by any means. So I think he could actually match the volume of Danny Silva. But I also think he's going to hit him a lot harder. He's going to hit him a lot cleaner. And I think he could probably knock him out as well. So Kevin Vallejos is going to be the official pick this week. He is my favorite prospect, and I believe he gets it done by a KO. Let's go. Neil Magny taking on Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. I mean, Neil Magny's losing to the best in the division, and Elizeu Zaleski is going to very close fights against not the best in the division, and even getting finished by, Chidi and Joe Kawani, another 6'3", 80-inch reach guy, losing to Randy Brown, another 6'3", 80-inch reach guy. Now, Neil Magny ain't that good of a striker. I can tell you that. But if he's in the cage, in the apex, smaller cage, he's got less room, to control. Less room to control. Boom, he meets him in the clinch. Then we're in the clinch, and that's Neil Magny's world. I'm going to take Neil Magny for the official pick. I don't think there's much that I like about Elizeu Zaleski at this point in his career. I think his real path to victory here would be the wrestling, looking to get to the back and looking for a submission. And it could happen, but I don't know how likely it is. So I think Neil Magny, if this fight goes to decision, is going to be right there for the taking. Could be a very close split decision. Could be a moments versus minutes type of thing, whereas Zaleski maybe gets his hand raised from winning the moments with the damage. But Neil Magny, I know, is going to be able to win minutes in this fight in the clinch. So I'll take Neil Magny for the official pick. Another dog added to the roster. Carol Rosa taking on Nora Cornolle. Disgusting fight. Probably goes to a close decision. And for those reasons, I'm going to take Nora Cornolle. Another dog. I just trust her to go in there and want to take the fight over, and I cannot trust Karol Rosa to do that. I do think Karol should probably be a favorite, very slight favorite. You know, she's fought the better level of competition. She does have a good overall skill set. It's just, I don't really think she separates herself from her competition. And Nora Cornolle is constantly trying to do that. She's constantly trying to take over the fight with big shots, trying to take over the fight with takedowns. She's trying to submit you on the ground. She's trying to knock you out. And I think, you know, she can win the fight that way if it goes to decision, just being a little bit more aggressive, being a little bit more active. And both these girls are pretty physical. I think Cornolle is extremely physical for women's MMA. So if this fight hits the ground, you know, I don't think Rosa's a bad grappler by any means, but, you know, she just got taken out a couple times by Eileen Perez. Nora Cornolle is not the wrestler that Perez is, but I do think she could maybe find herself on top sometime in this fight, and I think she can get a victory here. So Nora Cornolle going to be the official pick. I got a lot of dogs. Oh, good. We're going dog hunting, I believe, this Saturday. Here we go. Elvis Brener, Estevam, Ribovics. We're going to take Ribovics here. I don't really have, you know, a ton of confidence in him to get it done, considering, you know, he's a minus 250 favorite, just because it seems like he fights on thin margins at times. And I think Brener is live to really grapple him up here, but I don't know that he's going to have a ton of success doing it. I think he could have moments doing it, but I think Ribovics is very good at finding his way out of those situations when he's getting taken down, just never being, or just being relentless, trying to get back up to his feet. And then when they're on the feet, I think Ribovics is the better striker. Brener, very hittable, but also does have some pop in his shots. He's been hurt many times in the UFC. He's battled through it. We'll see how long he can battle through it in this fight, because Ribovics is a guy that does not lay off the gas pedal at all. So Ribovics is going to be there late in rounds 2 into round 3, and that's where he can maybe take over, maybe find a finish. But I think it might even go to the scorecards here if Brener can't find a submission on the ground. I think it could be a back-and-forth fight that goes to a close decision, but I'm going to take Ribovics here because I think he's the better striker. He is very durable, got great cardio, and I think he's going to be scrambly on the ground. So give me Ribovics for the official pick. The line, I believe, is a little bit wide, though. Let's move on. Co-main event. Rebecki taking on Chris Duncan. Chris Duncan coming in here as the underdog once again. Can he get the gilly on Rebecki? I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be an easy fight for either guy. I mean, I don't think Rebecki is just going to run away with it, but I do think he probably has the KO upside. I think he probably has the upside to get top time here. You know, Duncan's a guy that just doesn't really F off, so he has that going for him. Very tough, very gritty, very awkward as well, so I think they could try to feel each other out a little bit, but I think Rebecki's the better wrestler. I think he might be the better grappler as well. He's a little bit shorter for the division, but I think he might have more power. Does have some good leg kicks. So I think he's probably just a better fighter overall, and I think he should get the win this Saturday against Chris Duncan. But Duncan is a very opportunistic guy, and if you make one mistake, he'll make you pay. So I wouldn't be shocked if Chris Duncan gets it done, but I'm going to take Rebecki for the official pick. To the main event. Before we get into the main event, hit the like button for me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hyun-Sung Park coming in here as the underdog on short notice. He's supposed to fight next week. He gets the call for a 5-round main event. I think it's a tough ask. You know, moving everything up a week, taking on Tatsuro Taira, who's an amazing grappler and also a pretty good striker in his own right. And then he's got to go 5 rounds. So maybe he could look good early. You know, maybe Park comes in here and is able to touch up Taira a little bit, because I don't think Taira's the best defensive striker, but he does have a good process in the way that he strikes. There are some defensive flaws that we saw in the Royval fight that I think could maybe get exposed here from Park, who's a pretty fast boxer with his hands and does mix in some knees as well. But overall, I think Taira, coming off the 5-round loss to Brandon Royval, is going to come in here and get a victory over Hyun-Sung Park, because I think his striking is good enough to deal with Hyun-Sung Park. I think it's just a little bit too much too soon for Park here. Not really sure why they were throwing him in the mix with Steve Erceg. That was his original opponent next week, coming off a win against Carlos Hernandez, but now he's got to face Taira as well. I mean, it's a lot to ask, I believe, and he could maybe have his moments here, but I think it's just going to be a tale of underprepared, too much too soon type of stuff. So give me Taira here. He is the younger fighter, which is crazy for me to say. It's too much too soon for Park, but he has fought some pretty, solid guys in the UFC. He's been in some big spots before. Went very close with Brener, split decision. I think he gets it done here. So give me Tatsuro Taira for the official pick in the main event. That's going to do it. Appreciate you for watching. Like the video for me. Again, subscribe to the channel. We'll be back here real soon with some more content. Till next time, hey, Job Picks.